oh my God, what a mess that's creating. And that is the equivalent of just like the guy on the street with the wobbly sign.
I just think the noise and the confetti and the distraction is leading to a lot of people actually losing sight of the goals and the targets and the outcomes. Morning, welcome. We're going to talk today about why digital marketing matters. I think there's a lot of confusion. There's maybe even a lot of hope that we don't have to worry about digital marketing anymore, that AI and the ability to have something somewhere in the cloud taking care of all this noise and scuttlebutt. But joined with Jody today. Jody, welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to correct you there and say we're not really talking heavily about AI. Isn't it about why digital marketing matters?
I am talking to people who are giving me the impression that AI is going to save the day and, oh, we don't need you anymore, Jonesy, we're out. Sane people are the ones who think that building a website is kind of like a box to tick, as if once I get that job done, I'll never have to do it again and I can move on and do my real job.
No. Yeah, that's like a garden that never gets fertilized.
Yeah.
It'll die.
You know, I'm building a website so that X happens, or I'm building a website to reach, Y customer. And I think that this purpose-led investment in digital marketing is going to come to the fore, because I'm going to touch on AI, but not anchor there. But I just think the noise and the confetti and the distraction is leading to a lot of people actually losing sight of the goals and the targets and the outcomes.
Yep.
So it's going to be even busier, even messier, actually even more expensive, and still result in no outcome.
All right. Before you do any more like panic talk about getting onto all of these things, let's say I'm a business owner. I've got an operating business, and I need, I'm stuck in the Stone Age, and I need some marketing, and I need to get with the times. What does a digital strategy look like or need to align with?
I've read more than I should, which has led me to be more confusing. But I actually have come up with my own little digital strategy definition. And that is that great digital strategy is going to create perceived value in the eyes of the ideal client relative to competitors. And those three little elements are important, because a lot of businesses we work with will actually do a lot of great things in their business for their customers when delivering their product or service, but the customer never knew they did that thing. So our IT MSP partner we work with, shout out to the guys at Real Bytes, they do things in their security audit and their work that protect their client in a way the client was never aware they had just done that. And so if in marketing you're not creating perceived value, you're actually not creating value. That customer doesn't see that what you did was better than not doing it, and therefore I'm not going to put that in my pricing or value equation.
Yeah. So if I'm a business owner and wanting to evolve with the times and address those things you just spoke about, what's the first starting point? Do you look at what their business plans are, or?
Well, where we start is those three things come back to the fore. So we've got perceived value. What is it we do uniquely that the person we're after, our ideal customer, what is it they want from us that they will value? And hopefully we can deliver at a price or a cost rather, that's below the price they're prepared to pay. Therefore, we can do it profitably.
Yeah.
So perceived value, so they can see what we've done for them, ideal customer, and relative to competitors. So if I'm a company starting or I'm reinventing, we're the time we're shooting this, we're just heading into planning period for the next financial year with a lot of businesses. They need to be very, very mindful and clear on where their competitors are at, what the customers that they have today want from them. And if they're saying, hey, I'm going to grow my business, I'm going to go up 30, 40%, whatever it's going to be, where are those new customers coming from and who are you stealing them from?
Yeah. And so you're talking about aligning business strategy and business goals to a digital strategy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes what can happen is we need a new website because it's not getting leads, or we're not getting customers, or we need to find a new audience, and they think that they need to start with their website. And in reality, if their business strategy is to garner more remote partners or international partners, then a part of that digital strategy needs to align with them going overseas or going to trade shows to support when they are in that region talking to those people one-on-one. The digital strategy needs to incorporate things like SEO to support and send traffic to their website. Is that kind of where you're going with all of that?
Absolutely. And the other thing about digital marketing is most folks that I would talk to, and I'm sure you'll be the same, they actually think of digital marketing as just shouting out our message.
And how would they do that?
Just running ads. I'm going to, and a lot of the folks who don't have a plan or a strategy that informs a set of actions, they haven't got a set budget. They are opportunistic. Someone rings in, they go, oh yeah, great, I'll do some outdoor.
Yeah.
And then they go, I bought the outdoor, now what will I say versus what should I say based on who I'm trying to reach, based on what else they're doing today, based on how I am better than someone else.
This is really pertinent right now as we see, and I'm dialing back to AI now, is especially in Google ads, when someone's trying to blast out and shout out with their ads, we've seen a couple of cases where Google's new AI, I can't remember what it's called, the aggregator or the
Max too.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a mess that's creating. And that is the equivalent of just like the guy on the street with the wobbly sign, but times 200 ads, and the ad spend is getting completely obliterated.
Yeah.
And there's just no way the AI Max knows your business strategy. And so, yeah, you're just kind of wasting dumb money with Google.
I think the mathematicians in that sort of ad delivery are going to go, we'll just chuck them all out and the numbers will tell us.
Yeah.
Then if your ad structure is wrong, all of those messages that could theoretically win on their own start competing with each other, and one always wins when 98% of them will be blown away. We actually met someone a couple of weeks ago that auto-generates 15,000 pieces of creative a day.
Yuck.
And then they throw that in, they spend 50 grand a day.
Throw that spaghetti at the wall.
Chuck it at the wall.
No.
Let the system tell them what's working. They also are in a business that's global. They're in a frictionless marketplace. A new customer could sign up. But they also don't care about the long-term value of the client. And I think most of our people we would work with at Your Digital Solution definitely have a view of winning a customer to service them over the long term and to create value over the long term.
Well, I mean, AI Max can't tell feelings and all that kind of stuff. So that's where it all goes a little.
And legal compliance too.
Yeah.
So we had a finance client they were making claims that were absolutely not to be made. And secondly, the AI tools actually went to the customer's website, found some deep, dark corner of the website, and built an ad off pictures of people that they don't even work for them.
And so while advertising applications have changed and AI has evolved, I'm just thinking, has the attention of an audience moved in that time, and what does that look like?
There's actually two things that come to mind for me on that. One is Google a while ago did this study called ZMOT, Zero Moment of Truth. It's a few years old now, but when I was a rep, I've been at this for a bit over 20 years. When I was a rep first starting off, they'd say 5 physical contacts with a person would build trust.
Yep.
So if you made that 5th call, and most people apparently give up after 1.6 attempts or whatever. So if you make the contact 5 times, you build trust, and therefore that customer-made purchase from you. Mm-hmm. Digitally, people are far more able to be more promiscuous, and they'll get depending on the study as you read it, between 25 and 32 touch points with players in the category before making a decision.
Like just on your Meta Ads platform, you've got 17 opportunities to turn up. So that's just one platform. And if we scale that across Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook alone, and then Twitter, X, Twitch, anything. Yeah, there's multiple ways we can find people, but it's where they're looking. And if you're trying to advertise in a place where your customer is looking over here, then you're really wasting your money there. And that might get seen as great impressions, but it's not delivering and it's not really performing.
The other side of that is from the consumer side, as they pull through messages based on interest. So a lot of our older clients who maybe come from media where you can place the ad, choose where you want to sit, pick the medium or the brand you want to be in. The algorithms in delivering a stream of ads around content to an end user, as you well know, but just for our listeners to explain it, it's algorithmically assigning that around interest, and that could even be how they paused on an asset or things they've clicked on in the past. But a lot of our advertisers are thinking sort of like they do when they walk out their shop and they think up and down the high street, who am I competing with? But actually, when you run your first meta ad, those 17 places you can show up, the next 4 or 5 ads you see are your direct competitors who've often been at it longer, spending more, really dialed in their landing pages or their calls to action. So I think part of what I enjoy about what we do is help people not be the dumb money that's actually fueling a lot of Google and Facebook's or Meta's growth. But our job is to help you get the result without spending sort of too much, I guess.
And I think as a consumer myself, I have become very impatient with poor performing ads. And I don't know if it's because I'm completely biased, but the other day I was on Instagram and having a look at like tiny homes, for instance. And yes, as you said, all their competitors came up. But of course, I'm gonna hit that learn more shop now. And I want to, if I click on an ad, I want that ad to take me to the thing I'm seeing in that picture. And if any damn ad takes me to a homepage or makes me work once I've gotten to a website, you lost me. I'm out. And I suppose that's where the attention has moved over time. So in my parents' era, they would have looked at the classified, they would have called the number. It was a very seamless, linear process. But now attention is like gold and it's fleeting. And I think that then takes me to the next part of an ad needs to perform. But also I want to make sure that people aren't considering an ad as strategy, and it's rather a tactic that's going to get you what you want from your strategic planning. And I think that is really where a lot of people skip over that. They go, I need to do ads. And then they forget that part in the middle of the strategy. So I think about the way digital amplifies the planning. Digital is not the plan. So how do you try and determine or introduce that idea? Because for us, it's a pretty no-duh foundational thing of you need a plan, that's your strategy, and then we'll get to all of those twists and turn tactics that we need to do to deliver. How do you bring that up with potential?
When we work with people, the first thing is a realistic and sustainable budget.
No one likes talking about it, do they? Even me, when I go to talk to someone about, hey, can you quote me on this? What's your budget? I'm not telling you.
Well, yeah, the last thing you want to do is throw out a number and then have them go, yeah, that's fantastic, let's go. They go, shit, it was too high.
Or like, no way, Jose, we're moving on. You're too cheap for us, which, could very well happen.
We talked about it elsewhere, like the average Aussie company, all maturities, all sizes, etc., is spending 5.7% of turnover on marketing.
Net?
Well, on average, 70% goes to digital. So
yeah, right.
No, turnover grows.
Woo!
So 5.7%.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And I'd look, if I had to put a number on, I'd say maybe between 1 to 2% would be the number we would see from customers walking in to our offices. And what's interesting about that is the people who walked in at 1 to 2% actually expect sort of at benchmark or better growth.
Yeah, I think that goes back to that.
Undercooked.
Yeah, it's definitely undercooked. And I think as you started off talking about, that comes back to the perceived value. Like 5%, that's ridiculous to spend that. But that, that difference of you currently spending 1% of your gross turnover versus 5%, that's 4% of the customers, 4% that you need to spend to get your business goals happening. So
tricky one I find is when they're at, let's say they're turning over 2 mil now and the ambition is to, go to, 4 mil in 3 years' time. So compound numbers, it's something like 24% annual growth rate needed. If you hit that, that's a great investment.
Yeah.
If you're spending 5%, the tricky bit is working out 5% of today's turnover is not going to cut it because you actually have to be 5% of your next bridging numbers.
Closer to 15%. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 7 or 8 or something. But the problem with that is a lot of businesses, if you're at 1 to 2, you can't just go and find another 4 or 5%. So you've got to lean into this kind of steadily. And the interesting thing also I find is where's the growth coming from? Most businesses are getting customers already from their real core central service and customer segment. But when they grow, they often have to really differentiate something and really go to slice off very specific types of customers.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've had it too, where they are the best campaigns to work on because we're very clear about who we're after, what they're buying from us, why they come to us. And then we can see very clearly if we're getting the right amount of performance. And so the growth comes from somewhere. Sometimes they do nothing and you've got to bring them in, latent demand. Other times you've got to pinch them from someone else. And coaching clients into being very particular about that means that we're not this amorphous blob of where, like, in professional services, they're the worst at this. You can go, in fact, Baines did a study on this, and they pulled out with a research group all of the claims of professional services firms. This is in consultancy and accounting advisory. And they covered the brand on the top of the page.
Oh, no one knew who they were. Yeah, of course.
The message was indiscernible amongst...
Yeah, we are integrity and accountable about accounting. Yeah.
And it was something like 86% of executives in those businesses said, we're different, we're differentiated, we can tell. And only 8% of their customers agreed. Like really bland kind of stuff.
So you've got plenty to say on this, and I don't want to cut you off, but I mean, you should write a book about it.
We have written a book about it. There's going to be a link in around this video, wherever you might have found it. And we'd love to see how it helps people think about where and what digital marketing has to contribute to their business performance.
All right. So what's in it? Give us the top notes.
Top notes, so it is why digital marketing matters. It then runs us through the various tools. And in the same way that a person had to learn, or a business owner has to learn a bit about accounting to deal and get the most from their accountant, the goal of the book is to help business owners doing it for yourself or through a team or even with an agency.
Yep.
The goal of the book is to help business owners to pick up some of the language of the business performance you can expect from doing effective digital marketing, so they can brief their teams well and know if they're getting a good outcome.
Yep, great. Well, I can't wait to read it. Thanks for that.
Bet you can. Thank you, Charity.